Hello, everybody. This is Coach Aaron Saft in the Running is Life podcast. Today's episode, going to talk a little bit about building your own home gym and things you can do from home and how I built mine over the course of many years. Let me start by just apologizing again. I'm sick. I've been trying to push, and ride that thin, fine line between getting enough rest and recovery and training and getting everything else in life. But obviously I rode that line too fine and went on the other side and just compromised my health and got sick. So I am getting better, just kind of getting back to running. I took a few days off. Didn't want this to go back into my chest. Learn my lesson from last time. So just started back after I ran a little bit. Let's see, I came down. I started feeling it on Thursday. Friday I took off. Saturday I ran a little bit with one of my athletes. And Sunday I took off. Monday I took off. Tuesday, it was yesterday, and I felt better. So I did about 45 minutes, just super easy on the treadmill. Today I'm going to try for an hour. Feel like I'm just squeezing things in right now. Just getting up early and trying to get things done. It's just really busy time of year with the kids finishing up their indoor track season and everything else that goes on. And like I said, just trying to get in my own training. Listen to a really good podcast today, and the strength training podcast with Jason Fitzgerald. I'll put a link in the show notes because I think it was really great to hear. They reemphasize that, if you just are stressed about trying to fit in one more thing in your day, strength training should not be it. Put the emphasis on the run, which, I totally know that, but it's, I feel like I need to do everything, of course, as we all do. But I have to remember I only have so much energy and I only have so much time, and the run has to be prioritized and recovery has to be prioritized. So it was a really good reminder, and there were some other really good things in the episode. Really enjoyed the episode. So once again, I'll post that in the show notes. So, have a listen because it will give you some ideas about strength training and how to program your own strength training if you're doing so. Because it should be almost periodized, kind of like we do with running. It should match what we're doing in our running, in how you're structuring your strength training. So that's not my strength. That's not my lane. So I'm not going to go too deep into that. I know just enough to program for my athletes, but I am by no means certified to be a strength training coach. I'm just going to talk today about some tools that I've found and how I grew my home gym so that I can do things at home. And we'll start with the progression. This all started kind of back, I would say around probably 2006 when we were preparing for my son's birth. I knew that, my time was going to be even more limited once my son was born. So I started kind of accumulating some things for my home gym. And, at first, before that, I would go to a gym and lift and use the equipment there. But if you don't have the time for the gym, it's fine to start with just body weight exercises. You can use things around the house that are heavier for your for your weighted movements. There's a great book by Jeff Horowitz, and I'll put that in the show notes as well. It's a simple strength routine. Is it ideal? No, but it's something. It's 2 days a week, 15, 20-minute sessions. So if you're looking to add in a little bit of strength and just looking for something out there, that's a great one. I will say my favorite resource, and I've mentioned it 1,000 times on this podcast, is Jay Dicharry's Running Rewired. I think that is one of the top-notch resources for your strength, mobility, and core strength out there. there's so much in that book. He has routines in the book that you can do, simple body weight movements. There is some additional equipment that you can use, or again, use stuff that you have around the house, or kind of, change the exercise so that it mimics the exercise he has in there. But anyhow, I think Jay Dicharry's book, Running Rewired, is a fantastic resource for strength, mobility, and in having workouts, specifically if you're having, he talks about if you're having a strength discrepancy issue, like if you do an exercise and you feel one side's weaker than the other, then, obviously you continue to work on that exercise, and here's some other ones you can do to help that. He gets into the hip matrix, into, the core stability of the glutes. Like it's really incredible the way he kind of breaks things down and makes it simplistic for you to understand. He shows by pictures how to do the exercises. He has a few videos online. One is the hip circuit that I love having my runners do, especially as they ramp up their training kind of in the base phase. And he also has the performance lifting activity, which he is a really big advocate of using in the base phase of training as well. So, but great resource there. Again, if you're just starting out, body weight is great. If you're going to purchase something, probably the next step I would say is resistance bands, TheraBands, something to that effect. You can do so much with resistance bands and TheraBands. There's so much that tacks on, creates a level of challenge to the body for exercises, because you can do so many exercises, and by adding the TheraBand or resistance band, you're going to create a new challenge for the body and start to use muscles that you wouldn't otherwise during that exercise, just to help stabilize and incorporate the band. So that would be my next level, and those are pretty inexpensive. You can get one or two of varying resistances and do a whole range of things with that. And again, Jay Dicharry has a whole banded workout in his book. So again, there you go. If you get resistance bands, Dicharry has you covered in there by using that. The next purchase, the third level, I would say, is getting some dumbbells. And you can start off with just one set of kind of a intermediate weight where it's just very versatile, that you can use it for multiple exercises, and then growing that collection as you go. That's kind of the third level. Some people prefer kettlebells. Now keep in mind, if you get kettlebells, you can use it unilaterally, but if you want to use it bilaterally in order to, to have one in each hand, obviously you're going to have to buy two kettlebells of the same weight, which can get kind of pricey. Dumbbells are expensive as well. So, which is more versatile? I mean, one would argue you could use the kettlebell for a lot. I say you could probably use dumbbells for, just as much, if not maybe even more. But kettlebells are a great option as well. So, we'll say dumbbells / kettlebells, in this case here. So that's kind of my third level. That you can do so much with having resistance bands and dumbbells or kettlebells. There's just a lot that you can cover by doing that, and that will probably cover a lot of your needs. What I've grown to have in my gym, we're going to talk about all the things that I've incorporated into my one little basement room. If you check out my quick core videos, I'm usually doing that workout in my workout room. My friend Michael Patton came and put down a gym floor for me, which is super nice. Obviously not by any stretch of the imagination necessary for you, but if you have a mat to do stuff on, obviously a yoga mat or something even a little bit more padded so that your back doesn't hurt when you finish, that's great. So But other things that are super helpful and you can do a lot with is the TRX cable system. So the TRX, they're not a cable, I guess more of like a band system. That system, obviously you need a place where you can attach it, and that's tough sometimes. If you don't have a designated space where you can attach it, because you do have to bolt it to something, in order to be able to use it. So, when considering that, consider the space which you have, and do you have someplace you're comfortable with bolting in the security or the securing mechanism. It's just like a U-bolt that basically, the straps attach into, so you can do the exercises. But TRX does have a lot of different exercises that you can do, and you can use it for. I really like that system. It's usually about $100 for the entire system, the straps and the bolting mechanism, all that stuff. It's usually about $100. You can get it at places like Dick's Sporting Goods. So, check out the TRX system, because like I said, there's a lot more that you can do with that system. But I do have one of those in my basement. Cable systems are another addition. Again, you have to have something that you can secure the cables to, but there are a lot of different exercises that you can do with cable systems. Cable systems, they're kind of like a bungee cord. If you think of a bungee cord, and then you can have different attachments and handles that go onto them, so you can use it in a wide variety of motions. From doing leg exercises to upper body movements. It's very good because it makes you stabilize the core, because you're creating resistance against yourself. You pull the band out to where you feel resistance, and then you do your movement. So you're trying to control the movement without losing the stability of your core. So cables are a great addition. Again, it does require a fastening system. So just know that ahead of time. You have to be thinking about where can you attach this thing. And with cables, whereas TRX, it's usually one fixed point. With cables, there's multiple points because of where the cable is in relation to the exercise. Usually, you're going to have probably three different attachment points. You're going to have a high, a medium, and a low. So low is going to be close to the ground, so it would kind of be running parallel to the ground to your ankle. Middle is kind of where I would say like your chest level is, and then up high, so you can get an angle from up high to pull down from. So cables, again, great option, but you need the fastening point. So cables and TRX, it requires a space in order to use those. Going back to Jay Dicharry, this next piece Jay Dicharry came up with is the MOBO Board. You've probably heard about it on podcasts. It is a fantastic tool for trail runners, especially. If you're looking to stabilize and strengthen the foot and ankle, as we all should be if we're trail runners, this device is fantastic. Now, it's not just for trail runners because of the stability it creates. You are using your core to stabilize while on this platform and doing exercises. His website, moboboard.com, I'll put on the website, on the show notes. That website has a plethora of videos of resources and exercises that you can do. It goes through a whole foot and ankle routine. Okay, there's a whole matrix for you to go through to work your foot and ankle. If you listen to certain podcasts, I'm thinking, actually the strength training podcast that I referred to earlier, he has a link in there for 10% off. So if you're looking to get it, I think the board is about $80. Now, that is kind of pricey. I understand that. All this equipment is going to cost money. I have no affiliation with any of these products. I'm just telling you about things that I've used or my athletes have used or my physical therapist has prescribed to say these things can really do you and benefit you, and you should have these in your home gym in order to incorporate some exercises. So the MOBO board is fantastic. It does come with some bands to use. I use my my cables with the MOBO board. Again, kind of another way to use the equipment that I already have. I believe it comes with something similar to like a TheraBand type tube, and after use, obviously those snap and break. Cables do need to be replaced, but not as frequently as your TheraBand or resistance bands. So, but the MOBO board, fantastic tool. You can do so much with it. Single leg squats. He has this one called Tippy Twists, which just works the core and the hips extremely well. You'll notice your balance will improve with the use of it. It has to be consistent use with it, but it's fantastic. So if you've had problems with the ankle in the past, when I kept rolling my ankle last year, some of you remember I kept having problems, leading up to Western States with turning my left ankle. My physical therapist, Miriam, she had me get on the MOBO board and do some specific work with that, doing a majority of the ankle matrix that Dicharry has on his website. So she referred me to that MOBO board. So MOBO board, again, great resource. If you're a trail runner and do a lot of technical trails, or you're training for something technical, definitely something to consider is the MOBO board. Another one, especially people that have high hamstring tendinopathy, this next tool, we'll call it, or exercise piece of equipment, can be great for your training. David Roche's new Ultra Legs video, I'll post that in the show notes as well. The Ultra Legs video uses Nordic hamstring curls, which are very hard to do if you don't have the right equipment or somebody to hold your feet down. It's a very tough move. So the Nordic Stick, and again, I'll put the link in the show notes for Nordic Stick. It's again, another price, another piece of equipment that costs money. But if you're having hamstring problems, this is a great tool to use. Again, has videos and resources on their website of things to do, how to do them, how to build up your strength with these. But this is a simple thing that it's a mechanism. It's got a piece that goes underneath your door. You close the door so that the door is now holding you from falling, so that you use this piece of equipment and you can do the Nordic hamstring curls more simply. Okay, so Nordic Stick is a great resource for hamstring work. And also, of course, there's other great hamstring exercises, but the Nordic hamstring curls have been proven to really help with hamstring strength. So, if you're having problems, obviously, as I said before, I'm not the resource to say this is the right thing for, hamstring tendinopathy. Again, those are just things that I've heard over the course of time from people like Brody Sharp, who does the Run Smarter podcast. He has a whole podcast on hamstring tendinopathy. So if you're interested in that, check out Brody Sharp, hamstring tendinopathy podcast. You should be able to Google that and it will pop up. But anyway, an exercise ball. Again, lots of things you can do with an exercise ball. One more time, going back to Jay Dicharry and his book, Running Rewired, he has a whole routine with an exercise ball. Look to see what type of diameter that you should get for an exercise ball, but, there's a lot. So if you're picking up Jay Dicharry's book, Running Rewired, look through there. There's a lot of different things he has in there. So the exercise ball is a great routine. He also uses the Bosu Ball quite frequently. So if you're not familiar with the Bosu, it's basically half of an exercise ball. Creates instability on the platform. You can use it with the half ball side up or down. There's tons of things you can do with Bosu balls, and Jay Dicharry uses them in his book. Creates kind of the instability of almost the MOBO board, but you can do bilateral exercises like doing squats on the Bosu ball. You can do single leg squats. So again, pretty versatile tool, but another expense. So the Bosu ball. I also have some plyometric boxes. I have 3 different heights. I believe I found them on Amazon. They're not of the highest quality due to the price I paid for them. You get what you pay for, but they work. And you could do a ton of thing with these type of boxes. Step ups, and you can separate them and do dips. There's just so many things, box jumps, that lots of plyometric movements that you can do on plyometric boxes. So I have a set of 3 of plyometric boxes. I think they're a fantastic resource. Of course you can use a step, or whatever else you have around to step up onto. So not the biggest piece, or the first piece that you should add to your collection. The things that I've talked about prior, probably a little bit more. I would prioritize getting some of those things, more so before getting plyometric boxes. But definitely something I have and that I use. I also have a squat rack. So I picked up a squat rack. Let's see. I'm trying to remember where I picked that up. It was, it wasn't a normal site that I would think of to get a squat rack. So I'm trying to remember where I got it, but I'm not coming up with where I got that. But anyhow, I have a squat rack. Basically, I've got an Olympic bar, 45-pound bar, and then I've got plates. I've got a wide variety of different plates. Now, that setup is super expensive, and so that's why I said dumbbells or kettlebells. That's the way to start, because once you get into getting the barbell, you're starting to buy the plates, and the plates get super expensive. Again, I've been collecting this stuff for, we're getting almost close to 20 years here. Like I said, I started back in 2006 with starting to piece together my personal gym. So almost 20 years it's taken me to get all of this stuff. So I'm just saying, start your collection, start building your gym, budget, right? Budget your money so that you're not overspending, because it's tough not to want to go out and get everything, but that gets super expensive. And that's why I'm trying to prioritize things for you and talk about the sequence in which I would probably go out and get stuff to build your own gym. But having that barbell, there's a lot that you can do with the barbell, and the weights themselves. And so Dicharry uses a barbell for a number of different exercises. My work with Will France, Coach Will France, he's been programming my strength. He's got me doing quite a few things with the barbell. The one piece that I don't have in my basement that I use the school gym where I coach is having a bench. I don't have a flat bench, and that's the piece that I'd like to get next. Is a flat bench, because there's a lot that can go on with the flat bench. Since I have the squat rack, I can also double that as a bench press. And then you can do flat bench, flat back rows. I mean, there's just so many things that go on with having a bench and the capacity to use the bench. Sometimes I just have to be creative and do it in a different way if I'm not able to get to the school's gym. But a flat bench is kind of one of those. Obviously, like I said, 20 years in, and I still don't have a flat bench. I did at one point, but it wasn't very stable. I think it broke in one of our moves. So I would say, that's probably one of the last things that I bought, because it's not as versatile as the other things. I can use my plyo boxes for step ups and stuff. If you have a flat bench, you could use those for step ups. But anyhow, the bench would be kind of one of further down the road for purchase. Other small things that I have, I've got an ab wheel. I like to use that from time to time. It tends to work the core extremely well. Working the abdominal muscles and the back all at the same time. You can easily overdo it with that. You have to be really careful with the ab wheel. So, again, one of those ancillary things. Is it necessary for purchase? No, I just happen to have one and like to use it. The other one is my pull-up bar. Coach Will has me do a lot of different pull-ups, as well as straight leg raises. So having a pull-up bar is a great thing. Is it absolutely necessary for your home gym? No. Is it a great thing to have? Yes. Pull-ups are great for you. It does a lot. It does work the core. And, as I said, you can do a lot of different type of like knees to chest, straight legs, straight leg lifts, all sorts of stuff that will work, your whole body. So having a pull-up bar is a great addition to the gym. If you can swing it. Again, you have to have space for it. I just kind of bolted mine to the I-beam that runs across my basement. There's ones out there. Just be real careful with what you buy. Mine originally was designed to go in the door jamb, and I never could get it secure enough to feel comfortable with doing a pull-up that way. That's why I fastened it. Look at what you have, or what's available, and see, how you can manipulate it to make it safer for you. That's the biggest thing, with the pull-up bars. So just be careful with that. Okay. Moving on. Let's see. What other pieces do I have, running through them in my mind right now? Man, I think that's pretty much my home gym. I've got a slew of different dumbbells. That took me a long time to gather. Of recent, I've just been purchasing a little heavier weights. With working with Coach Will, my strength is definitely improving. So I've had to go up on the dumbbells. And that's the toughest part because, obviously the higher the weight on the dumbbells, the more expensive they become. I did purchase, a heavier kettlebell, more recently. My old run shop, FootRx, Joe Quinlan has become a big advocate for kettlebells. So I purchased, a heavier kettlebell, from FootRx. So I have access to that. That's kind of the high and low of my home gym. But again, start simple. Start with the resistance bands, and grow from there, because like I said, you can do so much with the resistance bands. Don't forget about Jay Dicharry's book. I think that's super helpful, in helping you, get stronger, because there's just so much in that book, and that will kind of help guide you as to what things you should probably prioritize purchasing as well, because you can do so much with that book. So great resource. But obviously having someone to help program your strength is great. Again, I get it, an added expense, but if you are a marathoner or training seriously for half marathon, the benefits of strength training are just so high. Being able to apply force much better just because of your strength, you're going to be a more efficient and faster runner. So make sure you're doing it right. Make sure you're getting the strength that you need in order to become a faster and better runner. Definitely things to look into and ask questions about. Again, that's not my biggest forte. I'm not a strength training coach, and that's why I hired one, is to kind of make sure that I'm getting what I need. Coach Will did a functional assessment with me and made sure he understood where my lack of movement and lack of strength is, so that we work on those things. And then he communicates with me on how things are going, and then programs based on where my training is, so that we're not overdoing it in a time where I'm trying to build a lot of volume. So again, it's great to have someone like that on your side, but there are resources out there for you to use to help you in your path for strength training. One item I did forget to talk about, I do have some medicine balls. There's some great workouts. Actually, Jason Fitzgerald, who I talked about in the Strength Running podcast, he's got one called Tomahawk. And the Tomahawk workout is a fantastic medicine ball workout. There are some great kettlebell workouts online. YouTube is a fantastic resource. You can dive down that rabbit hole and kind of see all sorts of strength workout. You can put in whatever, marathon strength training. You can put in trail runner strength training, ultra runner strength training, medicine ball strength training, kettlebell strength training. Do searches and check out things, get various ideas and try them out. Again, make sure it agrees with your training, what you're doing, and not making you too tired. That's the biggest thing, right? Your primary focus should be on your running, and make sure that it stays there. That's the biggest thing with strength training, is that you're focused on your running, you're recovering from your running, you're not taking too much out from doing lifting, and it's not taking too much stress to get the lifting in, okay? So, I hope that helps. I hope it starts thinking and getting you down the path to creating your own home gym and making sure that you incorporate your strength training and have enough equipment to do the strength training that you want to do and to help you get better. So the show notes are going to be jam-packed. There's going to be a lot in there. So check out the links. If you have questions, don't hesitate to holler. If you use a piece of equipment that you have found helpful, love to hear about it. I'm always up for hearing about new pieces of equipment and how they're helping and what they're doing. I like to stay attuned to that to make sure that I give my athletes all the most up-to-date and available equipment that's available for us to purchase. So that's all I have on that piece. For me personally, coming up, I've got the Cabin Fever 50K coming up in 2 weekends. So the 17th, I'll be heading to West Virginia and running the Cabin Fever 50K. It never feels good to get sick right before a race. It's unfortunate. It happens. I know why it happened. I explained. I was trying to do too much. I get it. We had 4 days of track meets last week, and trying to fit everything in around that, it was just too much. I had too much stress. I was trying to do too much in too little time, and I just ran myself ragged, literally. So, they're tough lessons to learn. You hope you can stay on the right side of health, but I didn't, and it's my own stupid fault sometimes. I put it in one of my Strava comments, and one of the titles, when left to my own devices, this is what happens. And we do stupid things sometimes. Even myself. We're human. We make mistakes. We do err, and I'm just glad I'm getting better. I'll be fine by the time Cabin Fever rolls around. Do I have the fitness that I hope to at this point? No, but again, I was sick for about 8 weeks at the beginning of this training block, which took a lot out of me, and I'm trying not to make that same mistake. So I'm trying to get healthy as quickly as I can while trying not to overdo it. I think that's the biggest thing, like when you're sick, is don't overdo it. Can you still run, to your body's fatigue level? Of course. As my wife says, if you don't have a fever, you can run, but don't try to go too far. It may only be a 30-minute run, and that's something at least, right? You're not going to lose a ton of fitness over the course of a few days if you're taking the time and letting your body recover. Just give it the time it needs to recover. That's the biggest thing to remember, is don't push the body, or else it's not going to recover. It's not going to get healthy for you. So allow that body to recover. Allow your fatigue levels to dictate how much you're doing, and get healthy. That's the biggest thing. That's where I'm at. Just trying to get healthy. That way I can have fun at Cabin Fever, have a good time in West Virginia. I'm excited for the race. My son has the state meet this weekend. Super excited for him. We've got 8 athletes going to states. My son made it in the 500 meter, the 1,000 meter, and the 4x4 relay. So the 500 and 1,000 are pretty much back-to-back events. Saying a prayer for him. It's going to be interesting because he's going to run super fast in the 500 and then try to come right back in the 1,000. So fingers crossed for him. And then hopefully he'll go on to nationals. So, appreciate all the well wishes. Really do appreciate the support for, myself, my family. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all the comments. Keep them coming, please. I really do enjoy that. It keeps me spurred and sparked, inspired to keep, plugging away and hopefully sharing some helpful information for you. I know, it's fun to have guests on and it's fun to hear them talk, but, as these past few weeks, and as I said, it's just been really hard to really coordinate with somebody to get some guests on. I do have some guests that I'm reaching out to try to get some new folks on and talk about some new topics. So stay tuned for that. And then, some exciting things. I rented, a camping space in Colorado so that I can go out a few weeks early and try to acclimatize to the higher altitudes for high lonesome. So going to go out to Colorado for a few weeks this summer and just camp and kind of try to focus on high lonesome. So I'm excited about that. I appreciate my wife letting me go out and camp. Not definitive as of yet. I just made the reservation, but I'm hoping that will work out. Anyhow, it's always just a pleasure to be able to do these things. I'm just so fortunate and grateful that I have these opportunities. I hope you're grateful for your opportunities, however they may present themselves. I know things don't always go the way they're planned. As I said, I didn't plan on getting sick, but here we are, right? So we adjust, adapt, and keep moving forward. That's the biggest thing is keep moving forward. Don't be frustrated. It's setbacks do happen, and we just have to roll with those punches, right? And so you just keep doing what you can do. You put in the work, and listen to your body, and things are going to be all right. You keep it up. And if you ever have questions about training, don't hesitate to reach out. As I've told a few athletes recently, I am really booked up right now. And potentially I'll have some more space this summer, or especially if you want to train something this fall and get started kind of, at the beginning of the summer, definitely, reach out. Let's have a conversation. But as of right now, I cannot take any new clients on, unfortunately, at the moment. And so we shall see. I'm thinking of talking with another coach and seeing if we can collab, and bring somebody else on for being another running his life coach. So we shall see. I'd love to have another coach on board and be able to kind of mentor the coach and make the coach kind of similar to my training style, if they're amicable for that, because then I know programming is going to be very similar. You're going to get something very similar in coaching, similar to what I would do. That's the biggest thing. I want to be cohesive in my message and in my programming to all the athletes that are under the under the Running His Life coaching umbrella. So anyhow, we shall see about that. And then next month is already Heartbreaker, the Heartbreaker 50 plus miler. Excited for that one as well. And outdoor starts already next week, outdoor track, which is, I can't believe it. So, lots going on, all good stuff. If you guys have some guests that you want to hear from or topics you want to hear talked about, please reach out. The contacts are all in the show notes. Happy to hear from you. Patreon supporters, you're amazing. I really do. I can't say it enough. I try to say it every episode. I do appreciate your support. If you listen and feel like you can consider supporting the podcast, if you feel like you're getting information that's relevant to you, your training and helping you, please consider supporting. It's little as $1 a month. It certainly helps. I appreciate that. And again, appreciate my Patreon supporters. So thank you all for listening. Until next week, keep moving forward, my friends.